Subjective versus objective morality. What's the difference? What makes something right? And what makes something wrong? Is morality based on what human beings believe, feel, or value? Subjective morality. Or are some things genuinely right or wrong, regardless of what anyone thinks? Objective morality. Today, let's examine subjective and objective morality. Then we'll look at one of the most difficult questions in religious morality. What is subjective morality? Subjective morality means moral judgments depend on people, perspectives, values, or feelings. Think about everyday life. You believe being completely honest with your friends is always important. Someone else believes hiding the truth can be acceptable if it protects someone's feelings. You may strongly disagree, but disagreement doesn't automatically prove that your position is an objective moral fact. Your judgment may be influenced by experiences, values, emotions, reasoning, and upbringing. That's an example of moral subjectivity. However, subjective does not mean meaningless. Someone can value compassion, honesty, and fairness while believing these values originate from human reasoning, human needs, or social cooperation. What is objective morality? Objective morality makes a stronger claim. It says that at least some moral truths are true independently of what individuals or societies believe. Consider something from real life. Imagine an employer deliberately refuses to pay an employee the wages they earned. The employer says, "There's nothing wrong with it. I believe I deserve the money." But does someone's personal belief automatically make exploitation morally acceptable? An objective moralist would say no. Here's another example. Imagine a group of people who agree that deliberately humiliating an innocent person for entertainment is acceptable. Does their agreement make it morally right? Again, objective morality says some actions can remain wrong even when people approve of them. This gives us an important distinction. Popular does not automatically mean moral, and legal does not automatically mean moral. A law can change. A majority opinion can change. But if objective morality exists, moral truth would not change simply because our opinions changed. So which one do we actually have? We clearly have subjective moral judgments. People disagree about punishment, abortion, war, animal consumption, personal responsibility, relationships, and many other issues. Our moral thinking is influenced by our minds and experiences. But does disagreement prove that morality itself is subjective? Not necessarily. People can disagree about mathematics without making mathematics subjective. So the deeper question is, are there moral truths that remain true even when everyone disagrees? If you believe the answer is yes, you must explain where those objective moral truths come from. And this brings us to God. Does God provide objective morality? If God establishes an objective moral standard, does the Bible consistently portray that standard? Many religious believers argue that God provides the foundation for objective morality. The Ten Commandments appear to provide clear moral rules. For example, Exodus 20 verse 13 says, "You shall not murder." Modern translations such as the NIV, ESV, and NASB use murder, while the KJV says, "Thou shalt not kill." At first, this sounds like an objective moral principle. But now let's examine what happens elsewhere in the Bible. Exodus 32, the golden calf. After the Israelites worshipped the golden calf, Moses came down from Mount Sinai. According to Exodus 32 verse 27, Moses told the Levites, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says." They were instructed to go through the camp, killing their brothers, friends, and neighbors. Verse 28 says that the Levites obeyed Moses, and about 3,000 people died that day. Notice the important distinction. The text does not say Moses personally killed those people. It says Moses ordered the Levites to do it, presenting the command as coming from the Lord. So, here is the philosophical tension. You shall not murder. Yet another passage presents killing fellow Israelites as a divine command. That raises a difficult question. What makes one killing murder and another killing morally justified? 1 Samuel 15. The problem becomes even more difficult in 1 Samuel 15. The passage explicitly says, "This is what the Lord Almighty says. Saul is commanded to attack the Amalekites and not spare them, including men, women, children, and infants. The command also includes their animals." So ask yourself, if morality is objective because God commands it, does God's command determine what is morally right? And if God commands something that we would normally consider morally wrong, does the command itself make the action good? Numbers 31. There is another difficult passage. Numbers 31:17 records Moses ordering the Israelites, "Now kill all the boys, and kill every woman who has slept with a man." Again, we are confronted with actions that raise serious questions about the relationship between divine authority and morality. The deeper question. This brings us to a famous philosophical problem. If something is good because God commands it, then morality appears to depend on God's command. But if God commands something because it is already morally good, then it seems that goodness exists independently of God's command. So, where does objective morality actually come from? God, reason, human flourishing, something else? Final thought. We can clearly say that humans make subjective moral judgments. Our emotions, experiences, values, and reasoning influence how we decide what is right and wrong. But whether objective morality actually exists independently of human beings is a deeper philosophical question. And if someone says, God gives us objective morality, then we should be willing to examine the entire biblical record, not only the commandments that sound morally universal, but also the difficult passages. Because the real question isn't simply, does God give us moral rules? The deeper question is, what makes those rules objectively moral? And if a rule says, you shall not murder, but other passages portray divinely commanded killings, we must ask, is morality truly objective? Or does morality change depending on who gives the command? Perhaps the most important question isn't, what do you believe is right? It's, why is it right? And would it still be right if nobody believed it? That is where the real debate about morality begins. Question what you think you know.